Welcome. On this channel, I do unscripted, unedited videos of Linux programming and stuff. If you're new to the channel, you probably want to check out video 1. It kind of explains the format of what's going on here. And if you're just trying to catch up on the current project, video 23 is probably the place to do that. What I have going on is that I am working on a game project that I currently call Space Captain, and kind of trying to develop a thin slice of the game, not getting too deep into the code or too sophisticated yet. Lots of things will evolve, but I want to get kind of a thin slice. And right now, oops, that ain't what I wanted. That is. Right now, what I have going on is we have a main that currently starts up. It loads the configuration, which is entirely via environment. There is no config file. Eventually, I will probably add the ability to have command line arguments. I certainly will, in fact. I don't think that there will ever be a config file. That's not... I don't need it for how I intend to run it. I can bake the defaults in. I mean, realistically, it's really only me that will ever be running it. I mean, other people may experiment or whatever, but the config isn't something that will change often. The way that I'll deploy it, I can deal with the config there, and I would want access to do some command line arguments when, like, maybe debugging something in a more production environment. But I do not need a config file. It's just a hassle as far as I can tell. This game is intended to use a it handles state a little bit like a database failover. So it's going to have state in memory. It's going to be writing a write-ahead log. When it shuts down, it will dump a state file. When you start it up, it will read the state file, then catch up on the wall, and then start to process. That is the intention. And so what you see here is, first we load the config, then we're loading the state, then, this is just some debug code in here to prove that I'm able to access information in the config. We create a thread. The thread is our main game loop, which we are going to rename right now because it's still... So this was stolen from a piece of sample code on the internet that was just showing how to use threads. But we want to change print message function to game loop. And that failed for some reason. My keyboard is not quite in the right spot. Print message function is going to become game loop. There we go. So the game loop, when we create the thread, we pass the game state to the game loop, and we wait. The game loop exits when it catches an interrupt, when it catches Control C, and I have to change that int cot thing. So I just don't like the name. It's not appropriate. In theory, right here, and this is what I'm going to work on in this video, is we would fall into the network code that would start to listen for connections and process those connections. At some point, you might get the interrupt, Control C, telling it to die. The code up here is going to have to know to fall out of that loop, and the code here is going to have to know to fall out of its loop, and then eventually, it then writes the state frees up all the resources exits, right? So that's where we're at. Now, I'm going to just insert it maybe. Let's take a look. So in source, we have, is it echo? Yeah. So this is just some empty, and I kind of have to walk through it to remember exactly what it does. In fact, what I'm going to do right here is, as far as I can tell, I don't want it to exit per se now because it's going to be off in, it's not its own loop, right? So I likely want it to be returning real error codes, but for the time being, we're just going to have it. Oh, I bet you I wasn't cleaning stuff up because I was just exiting anyway. I'll have to take a good look at this. Okay, so no exits left. I'm just going to call that network loop. And what we're going to do, I don't have any idea if this is going to work or just blow up in my face. We're going to call it's interesting. It wanted to pass in the config. Okay, so let's just kind of walk through this. What is this exit state? So we keep on. So I think I was just depending on a control C before. And so I want to have the same exit strategy as I have over here, which is that in the int handler, I'm saying while int cot equals false, right? So I want that same loop, but I already know what's going to happen is unknown type network loop. So I'm going to need source. I'm going to call this network.h. I'm going to rename echo c to network.c. And what we're going to have is the declaration for network loop, which is just int network loop void, right? And then, a thing I should learn how to do is how to rename a file in Vim. Source echo or network dot c, and that goes in there. I want to find that one and close that buffer so that I can rm source echo. There we go. Now, another thing I'm going to have to fix up is source main. Source main. And I just figured out what was confusing me so often is the color of the, is it? Yeah, I think it is. The color of the suggested, I mean, it kind of makes sense too, but the color of the Copilot suggestion is the same color as a comment. And so sometimes that'd be in a comment, and then I don't know, just confusing. Include network, that we want right now. And then, but these should be alphabetical, so it should go there. And then after game, I should have network.c. is this build. Warning, parameter names without types. So volid is not valid. Split network. Source network. So this should be void. Warning statement with no effect. In-game.c. What was the 56 statement with no effect network loop? So we want to call network loop. A warning, IRET1 set but unused on line 52. For now, I'm just going to puts. No, I'm going to fprint f IRET1 build it. Passing argument 1 for fret1 from incompatible pointer type. What did I just do? So IRET1 is an int. Passing argument 1 of fprint. Printf. In cot cogoth. CAUGHT. I could not see that. Okay, so now, in theory, will it still shut down? It did, but I think that the error handling isn't right because I was just exiting before, whereas here now I actually have to close things properly. That didn't go too bad. Although, so the thing to do now is take a look at this. Okay, so actually, I think I'm going to celebrate a little bit here. We'll call this good for this video. I'm not sure if I'm going to dive into this in the next one, or I have a kind of a side thing I want to do real quick. A little side video. I'll probably walk through this and start to clean up the error handling. So this needs to be like the other libraries then, so split this, and if I take a look at what I'll end up with. So let's grab source network H and split this one. I'll do this on the bottom, source state H. So, you know, I need to have it return all the error codes and stuff in the same way. But I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm just going to kind of celebrate the little win here and cut it short at, hey, we got it to make how did I undo that? That is in game C. Build that again. fprintf. How did I undo that? Make clean make. No errors, no warnings. Just what we want. Git status. So we renamed some files. I think I'll leave it at that for now and simply say git add, git status, git commit, add. I'm sure there are lots of problems with that code, git push. But at the same time, that was kind of the initial hurdle, was just conceptually, does it fit there? It does, but the problems are probably around error handling and shutting it down and things like that. And I will come back to that in the next video. See you then.